Dear students, welcome to MOOC on Human Rights in India. In this module, we will look at the issue of denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. What are the learning objectives for this module? We wish to figure out what do you understand by the term denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. What are the human rights violations faced by the members belonging to these communities, and what is the structure mandate of the National Commission for the Denotified, Nomadic and Semi-Nomadic Tribes. Before we go further, let us examine the historical context. The term or the criminal tribes or so-called criminal tribes was coined during the colonial times, and it had its origin in its colonial practices and colonial laws. Around 1830, a study was conducted about people who rob wayfarers in the central India, and after the mutiny or first war of independence, the colonial government came out with a legislation called the Criminal Tribes Act of 1871, under which they termed members belonging to certain tribes as criminal tribes, and these people were restricted in their native place, and any violation of that restriction invited penal sanctions, and they were regulated and their freedom of movement was affected. Subsequently, this Criminal Tribes Act was amended twice, but these are not very important amendments. But after the country became independent, the Criminal Tribes Act was repealed in the year 1952, and it was replaced by a Habitual Offenders Act. Earlier on, whatever communities that were branded as criminal tribes under the Criminal Tribes Act of 1871 stood denotified in 1952, and that's how members of these communities came to be regarded as persons belonging to denotified tribes. Now let us turn our attention to nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. Nomad, as one understands from the term, connotes people who have no fixed place of residence and who keep moving from a place to place. On the other hand, semi-nomadic tribes have a fixed place of residence for a part of the year, and for the other part of the year they keep moving. In fact, these tribes have an intimate connection with nature and depend on the natural resources, and they are a product of their surrounding ecological milieu. And of course, there's nothing wrong with nomadic or semi-nomadic nature, because it is a way of life for members of these communities. Now, before we go further, let me give you few examples of these nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. I draw your attention to the following graphic. The denotified tribes are present in varying concentrations in a number of states. In absolute number, the population of denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes put together is over 8 crores, which is a very significant figure indeed. In Delhi, Gadia Lohar, Gaddi Lohar and Sansis live, while in Gujarat, Bahurupis, Chamtas and Sansi and Chara communities live. In Maharashtra, Banjara, Ramoshi and Parthi tribes live. Now let us turn our attention to the human rights violations faced by members of these communities. Dear students, can anybody be born criminal? Can a person categorize all members of a community as a criminal tribe? Obviously no. Though the colonial rulers brought in Criminal Tribes Act, though they put restrictions on the activities of some tribes, though independent India had repealed that act and replaced it with Habitual Offenders Act. In fact, there is an important distinction between Criminal Tribes Act and the Habitual Offenders Act. The Criminal Tribes Act talks about entire communities as a whole. The Habitual Offenders Act focuses on individuals. Now, I'll tell you the exact problem. The moment you categorize a certain community as a criminal tribe, though legislation has been repealed, yet in public mindset, yet in the mindset of the law enforcement officials, they are looked down with suspicion. Whenever there is any crime in a neighborhood, the obvious needle of suspicion goes to members of these communities, and because of which they have faced instances like mob lynching, arson, looting, physical violence. And if you look at the caste structure of our society, there is a hierarchy. In fact, though these people are termed as tribes, they are in practice regarded as members of some caste in the rural India, but they occupy a very low place in the social ladder or in the social hierarchy. They are not regarded as untouchables, yet they face discrimination, they face stigma, they face human rights violations. In fact, because of the rigidity of the system, interdining or intermarriages do not happen. And as I said, the mindsets have not changed, with the result that these people became invisible. These people became very marginalized, very dispossessed, and they are not counted as a part of castes or tribes, and as a result they could not take the protection afforded by the Civil Rights Act or the Prevention of Atrocities Against Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Act, and the developmental efforts have bypassed them. And this is a context in which first, their categories have not been properly classified, the members have not been properly identified, and these people could not take the benefits under the governmental schemes for the scheduled castes or for the scheduled tribes, and there were violations committed by members of the society and the law enforcement agency, and these are important human rights issues indeed. And it was in this context that there were efforts. The National Human Rights Commission drew attention to the plight of the persons belonging to the denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes, And the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution, headed by Justice M.N. Venkatachalaya, has recommended appropriate measures for the protecting the rights of the members of these communities. In fact, there was one major case where there was a public interest litigation was filed by eminent literateur and former Gnanpith Award winner Mahasweta Devi about the custodial death of a person belonging to the denotified tribes. And all these developments over the years have eventually led to the appointment of a national commission for the members belonging to the denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. In 2014, there was an announcement, and this commission was to have a 3-year tenure. And in January 2015, this national commission commenced its work, and it submitted a detailed report in the year 2018. And the members of the civil society, of course, were not really happy, and the commission, though the commission was mandated with the task of suggesting appropriate developmental measures for the benefit of the persons belonging to denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes, yet it did not fully do its job properly. It did not classify all the lists, and it has left out people from many communities in different states, saying that their assertion of belonging to a particular denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes required further validation, required further research. And so in fact, this commission also recommended that it should be made a permanent body, a permanent commission. The government, of course, did not accept this recommendation, as there were already a National Commission for Scheduled Castes in operation, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes in operation, and there was a National Commission for the other backward classes which was in existence. And for this reason, the government of India established a welfare board for the denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes. It was under the Niti Aayog, and the vice chairperson of the Niti Aayog was expected to lead that effort, and in proper identification and classification of members of these tribes, so that developmental efforts could be targeted to them. Of course, this task is still continuing, and it was in the year 2019 the Union Cabinet took a decision to constitute this board. And to recall, we have seen the meaning of the term denotified, and how members of criminal tribes, once categorized as such under the Criminal Tribes Act, were denotified subsequently. We also seen the meaning of the term nomadic and semi-nomadic, and we have examined in some detail the human rights violations faced by members of these communities. And we also seen their geographical spread in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Delhi and other states. And we have seen briefly the working of the National Commission that was established for a 3-year term to improve, to monitor the conditions of these communities. And this commission wound up its existence, and it has been now replaced by a welfare board. It's extremely important to know that there are many people who belong to these categories, and the very invisibility of this issue makes it a very serious human rights issue, which requires it to be addressed properly. And these people, by belonging to the most marginalized and dispossessed, require the care, protection of their rights and freedoms, and there's a long way to go in this regard. Thank you, and see you in the next module.